Hi everyone, I'm Domenico Veneziano from Italy. I'm talking today about the recipe to make homegrown models for simulation. Thanks so much for the invitation to this webinar. First of all, I want to introduce you to the full life cycle curriculum development. This is the methodology that we usually use to create a protocol. Indeed, the protocol is the most important thing of the simulator. The simulator is just a tool. It is Rick Satava, one of the biggest names of simulation worldwide, that is reminding this to us. And if we have a look at this template, we can see that at the very beginning we have the outcomes. So here is when we decide what is the final use of our simulator. After that, we start developing the curriculum with the metrics. So we start understanding what we want to assess, not only to teach with this simulator, and just after this step we move on to the simulator development. That is what we're talking about. Of course, we will have afterwards all the validation and the implementation of the simulator, but today we will focus mostly on simulator development. Let's say that we want to build something fast and that can be used on a robot or just in a laparoscopic setting to simulate a vesicular urethral anastomosis. We don't always need very expensive materials, and I tried to build for you a very fast one, a very fast simulator that might be used on the fly on your systems. And there it is. It is just a party balloon that has been attached to a base. This is the base that we usually use for the circle cut exercise. As you can see, the balloon is just fixed on one side here and on the other side back there. I also considered that usually the main difficulty that we have when we perform a vesicular anastomosis or we work on the apex of the prostate is the limited space that we have all around. And this is why I used just a paper dish to recreate the space of the pelvis. So as you can see, we have here something that is already usable, very cheap, very easy, but still functional for some training. I will introduce you to the more professional simulators that are taking into account many more variables. Of course, the starting point is the patient. It's the DICOM image. Once we have a CT scan, then we can move on and start to isolate the organs that we want to focus on. Let's say that we want to build a simulator for a radical nephrectomy. So the first step, once we have understood more or less the dimensions of our model, is understand whether or not it will be big enough, or better, small enough to enter our lab training box. This is a preliminary test that we can make. So we can take a tray, a plastic tray, and then start placing inside some pieces even of other simulators. In this case, I was using a part of an upper tract simulator, the KUB model from the University of Minnesota. I was just taking the kidney and the ureter to understand whether or not I had the functional positioning of every single organ just inside a plastic tray. And I've seen that indeed the space was all there. I could rise up the kidney. You can see here that there was even something to attach some synthetic vessels. So everything was very much like a draft of the final model. After that, I understood, of course, that the dimensions were there, that everything was doable. So I started modeling the kidney. And you start modeling the kidney when you don't have any sophisticated 3D printing systems. You can do it with clay. And I have it here on my side. I have here on my side the clay model that I modeled. But you can find everything in an art shop. And it's pretty easy to find the clay and instruments to model the clay. Once the clay is modeled, then you need to make a mold of the little model in order to pour in afterwards the material that you prefer. And you can see here on the slide how the model is already placed into the first half of the final mold. In this case, we are using plaster. Plaster is very hard and it's pretty much suited for building a cheap mold. After that, you go on and you start pouring inside the material of choice, in this case the silicon. This is the final kidney that we had coming out from the two halves of the mold. This is already flexible. Of course, it has a weight and an appearance that is very, very similar to one of a real kidney. You can find a lot of online tutorials on how to use silicon to make different models. After that, you will go on and see whether these first models are working. So you can see that here the look was already very realistic. I have to say that I was surprised when I saw it the first time. The feeling, the colors, everything was even more realistic when it was seen under the laparoscopic camera. And you could already dissect, you could already see a little bit of the structures below. Here was the kidney coming out of the fatty tissue, and the vessels were already placed in their position. So at that point I started to understand that it was feasible, that it was doable, and that the different phases of the procedure could be replicated in this kind of model. But then we started to add some more details, like the liver here, that in this case you see just made up of clay. And in this picture you can see a resin mold, the different stages from the design to the pouring in, to the extraction of the model for a colon that has a super high detail, and that is part of this radical nephrectomy model. Of course, after creating all these little parts of the full model, you can go on and assemble everything. On this model, we already were using a different fatty tissue that was much more soft, and it was resembling much more the real one. After this, after the final assembly, you can go on and finally test your model. And here you can see how the model looks after having built it completely. The liver was looking so realistic, and every single maneuver was there. In this case, once again, I was absolutely amazed by the final result. So I hope that all this overview about the production from scratch of a new simulator was interesting for you, and could push yourself to start building your own little simulator at home. Because I really think that in the very end, the best way to predict the future is to create it. So thank you so much, and see you soon.